Right then. No, obviously not. That's better. Okay. So I was going to look at a bit of Substance Designer and then jump into Substance Painter. Um, so if you've got any Substance Designer questions, and punt them in the chat. I'm hoping this is going to be a bit of an interactive session, so I'm just going to kind of respond to your questions as you post them in the chat window. I'm gonna. What I want to do is make like a simple window tool for Substance Painter, so that I can sort of drop it as a decal onto my spaceship. So let's just close that. I think we can use Substance. It's going to be empty for the moment. And what I'm trying to do is make a really like quick and dirty like triangle window tool to make some triangular shapes, kind of like this stuff, that stuff, so that I can use it as a height map or something, or a mask on my spaceship, which we were looking at last week. So I've got a new graph. There's nothing in it, it's empty. It's a little squeezed because I'm trying to keep everything on one window to show you. So I'm just going to grab a let's see what shapes there are. Generator. Right, let's look at a taper. And let's grab a shape. Oops, can't spell. You can see that these tiny icons are all Substance Painter shapes, so it does come with a lot of stuff, but I thought it'd be fun to kind of just do this because I do spend a lot of time in Substance Designer, like playing with ideas. So we've got a shape, and need to look at the output. There it is. It's tiny on the screen. Let's make it bigger. So let's just reduce the size of that a little bit. Alright, there you can see. So the taper tool, which there is another taper tool in Substance Designer, but this is like a special one that I've made. So you can see that if I double click on it and then go 1 to 1, there we go. You can see it's going a bit crazy. So I need to just tame it a little bit. There we go. So we've got a taper top. That's kind of cool. You see, as I move the center around, it does it distorts everything, which is nice. And in order to stop it doing these kind of weird perspective stripes, I need to turn off the repeating. So let's clamp the X and the Y. There we go. Double click on that. So if I double click, it chooses the shape, and if I single click, then it so if I double click, it refreshes the view, but if I single click, it will just pick the tool, and so I get the attributes in the window over here. So let me see. I want to center that, I think. 0.5. So this is a bit abstract right now, but bear with me. So let's. Has people used Substance Designer before? Does everybody know kind of what it does? Do I need to kind of give a little demo of that quickly so that we can see kind of what's going on, or shall I just keep on as I am? Because this is a little bit obscure, maybe you're not used to it. So what I'm building up is a height map, so we can maybe see. I need to invert it. So this is the height of my window, like that. And if I get a base material, we can just do some testing. That's not right. space for shortcut base. Too much stuff. Let's go find the material over here. Base material. I don't know why that didn't appear in the search. There we go. Okay, right. So this is like a utility material for just getting things going. So let's if I right click on that, I can create some outputs. No. These are my PBR outputs. So we've got base color, normal, roughness, metallic, ambient occlusion, which don't really need, and height. Then I'm going to wire in my height. So user defined map, so I need to activate it. So here's the height. Let's wire in that. And I can view the outputs in 3D. You can just see that there's this indentation on the surface here. Like that. So I need to add another map because this is like a decal. So decals is like a new feature in Substance Painter. So I want to add an output. Let's get a new output node, add it to this material. I have to add an identifier. Opacity. What happens if I were into the let's load up an example actually one here. Open recent packages. Let's not do it like this, let's just do it from the library. So here's what I prepared earlier. So this is like you can see it generating there. So there's a window decal, and there's a bunch of, that's the node graph for it, which is pretty hectic, mostly because there's a lot of fuss up here to do with material qualities of the borders and things, but I'm not going to bother with that now because I'm just like want to knock something together. So that's node graphed up for it. Somewhere in here there's an opacity channel, which I guess is getting piped into something. Just reminding myself how this works. Oh, way down here, opacity. There's just called opacity warped into. I want this. Do I want that? Yeah, let's do that. So let's go back to my other node graph. Hey Jason, so what? So let's talk a bit about Substance Designer in general then, and not go into too much detail about like kind of building things. I'll just finish off this little kind of thingy, add item. Reset and view outputs in 3D. Yeah, it kind of works. There we go. So that's my opacity map. So like this is like, let's reset and view outputs in 3D. Is that going to work? No. That's annoying. That's annoying. Yeah, this is a bit manic. Maybe we should miss this. I'll give you an overview and then we'll jump out of it, because this is probably a little hectic for most people. Right, so let's just talk about what it does, and then rather than trying to drill into kind of actually how to build things, because I think that's probably just going to be a bit of a nightmare for you. So let's just save this as, let's save this and I'll pick it up later maybe. So there's some stuff, a load of stuff that I've made before, and space window. Right, spelled badly. Okay, let's just give you an overview. So let's find some stuff that is simple. So what this is a tool for building materials out of noise, basically. So if I start a new material, I'm going to make a new material, and let's make it a PBR metal roughness. We'll do something simple, I hope. So these are all the channels of like a standard PBR shader, like this. And we can build a lot of stuff out of noise. So let's just grab some noise. So there's a bunch of noise patterns over here. As you can see, these tiny, tiny thumbnails. So we've got a bunch of decals and various other things. So let's make like some brick or something like that, like really bad brick. We're going to do it really quickly. So here's some noise, and I'm going to wire it into a normal map. View the outputs in 3D, and you could just maybe, if I amp it up, you can begin to see that noise is created. I've changed this noise, turned it into a normal map, so that bumpy function is now creating all this detail on the surface. So we can, you can see it's very shiny, so let's adjust that. Our metallic is very high, but our roughness is not probably, it's probably too low for concrete, so let's just back it up a bit. So the cool thing about this software, so let's just, possibly more so than Substance Painter, let's get a sphere. Is that there's things you can, it really helps people understand, I think, like how these materials work, because you can adjust things in real time. So like if I adjust the roughness, we've got a dull matte surface, and then as I push it even more, you see you get a shiny surface. So you can see what these levels mean and get interactive feedback on what we're designing. So for concrete, you want something really low, not completely gone, but maybe about there, like that. That's like quite a good base. And we've got this kind of uniform grey colour, which is good. If we wanted to, you can turn it into a metallic material. So I've got my colour input, so this is just defining a grayscale colour. Here's the gradient for it. Grayscale is active, so if I whack the metallic up, you'll see that it turns into this kind of cannonball, shiny cannonball thing, like that. if it was really going to be like more iron, I'd drop the base colour down a bit. Hey man. Like that. Fan cart. Who are you, dude? Are you Mr. Kiev, the builder of spaceships? Alright, so we've got like so that's a metallic like cannonball, very shiny. Let's just mess with, make it a proper cannonball. We need to probably drop the roughness a bit. Where's the roughness gone? Ambient occlusion, roughness. So let's make it less shiny. Oops. Find my colour. Drop the value a bit. Yeah, kind of getting more cannonball-y there, I think, I guess. Probably a bit dull. Right, but we want to make concrete, so let's turn metallic off like that. So I do have a video on PBR shader stuff. And I'll post a link now in YouTube. If I was going to recommend anything, I think this is worthwhile. It's not, say, probably the Arnold copy link address. Let's just do this in the chat. So that's like on Arnold stuff, and that has also got an overview of how metallic roughness works and all the other kind of features which you'll see in Substance Designer. So you can kind of apply the stuff you learn in real time here to anything really, games and other stuff. So this is a great place for experimentation, especially if you can get it free as a student, which you should be able to do. If you're having problems doing that, you basically just need to include your student card in any kind of email. So it doesn't matter if you're a university student or school, you can get a copy of this software for free. So we got our dull grey, so we've got some dull grey concrete. It's a bit bland at the moment. So the main thing I think this is important for materials development is really about specular. So you can see these are all texture maps, and at the moment our specular is completely uniform. There's no interest in there at all. So people spend a lot of energy on these normal maps and don't spend any energy on specular, and it's partly because, like, if I zoom in on this map, that's really easy to visualize. You can see it's like a literal map with white is high and black is down, dark is down. Let's wire that into roughness. Now, as soon as I wire it into roughness, you begin to see these like fine details on it. And if I flatten out my normal map, let's go to my normal parameters here and just drop the intensity down to nothing. We still got some visual interest in these highlights. Now, like mathematically, if you really want to get into it, if you zoom out on a normal map, all the when the pixels become really small in your normal map, it's basically equivalent to specularity. So you can think they're sort of doing the same thing. Normal maps and specularity are kind of doing the same thing, this roughness. So maybe let's just mess with this just a little bit. I'm just going to make it slightly... Let's change the levels of this. So I want to edit the range of roughness. So you can see there's a graph here just showing my range of roughness here. And I can adjust the way this works. So here I've changed the contrast by making sure that my input levels are going between 0 and 1, like that, and you get this very almost beaten up kind of look, but the roughness is getting too low, like it's going to 0. When it's 0 it's perfectly shiny, and I don't really want that, so I'm just going to lift the floor value up a bit to there, maybe like that. So we're still getting some, it's still quite shiny, but everything else is kind of doing quite well, I think. So I don't want it to get too rough as well and become nothing like that. Right. So let's whack my normals back up again. And we get something like that. Right, so that's a foundation for our material. I'm not gonna, there's loads that we could do maybe with this to kind of make it more interesting. Maybe just do one little trick. So maybe let's get some dings in it or something. So just let's look through some of these things. Can I make this bigger? Large icons, there you go. So these are all the noises which come with it. A lot of them are generated entirely procedurally. Some of them are generated via like texture sampling. I'm just gonna, that looks interesting, let's grab that. This is, some of this stuff is old, so it's just regenerating and updating it. There we go. Ooh, didn't know we could do that. I don't know what I did just then. Right, so now we need to do a bit of maths. So I want to get this, I want to blend this with this. So we've got a blend node. So that's my base. So this is like compositing for materials. So I do a lot of compositing in my day job, as it were, like for visual effects. So this is like super intuitive for me. So if you've used Nuke or Fusion or any nodal compositor, this is like second nature. If you've used a Maya kind of material graph stuff, should be very familiar as well. Unreal, again, I think has very similar kinds of workflows for sorting out the maths. Major differences between Painter and Designer, I'll get to that. I think, oh well, I mean actually I can talk about that as we do it. Oh yeah, look at that, that's wicked. Right, so I've just replaced the material there. So we're just getting the noise from that noise function there. And now I can add some more detail by blending the two together. So I can blend it in various ways. I think what I'm going to do is multiply them on top of each other. Right, so what does that mean? So I'm multiplying, this is all, if you can imagine, this is values from 0 to 1. This is values from 0 to 1, so I've just got two numbers and I multiply them together. So if this is 0, this will also become 0, which is in the output, so all these dings go down, as it were. If this is 1, you'll see the full value, whatever that is, but if this is 0, then it will crush it down and reduce the height. So it's going, like, we're going quite deep, so if I reduce that amount, it will just reduce the floor of it a bit. Okay, and then we've got some interesting, these cracks are quite interesting. And just for the sake of it, I'm going to pipe it into there as well. So what did I do with that? Did I invert it? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. So, can you see down here, these are shiny. So I want to make it less shiny as I go deeper, so I'm going to flip these outputs around. That's alright. So basically the difference between Substance Designer and Substance Painter is like chalk and cheese really. So Substance Designer is for building all the drag and drop materials that you see in Substance Painter. So Substance Design just really is for playing with material spheres and understanding how surfaces work. So, and in Substance Painter you apply the materials that you've built here onto your objects. You can, I think there's some friends of mine do like some hard surface modeling, hard surface texturing in Substance Designer. So you can do a lot of the stuff in Substance Designer that you do in Substance Painter, like baking textures and things. But you can't paint. There's no paint tools in Substance Designer, which is nice actually. I think it's maybe where something like Armor Paint might win over this, because node graph editors are just really cool. Right, so we've got our cracked material here. And also, like in Substance Design, you get a node graph, whereas in Substance Painter, you get a layer view. Yeah, you don't really get. Yeah, you get. It's more like I can't even describe like the differences more than that. Yeah, so the Substance Painter, you don't get this node graph view. The node graph view is where it makes it really easy to be creative in applying all these different noises and blending them together. So let's do some more stuff. Let's just try and turn this into brick. So let's get a generator, a pattern generator. And there's some bricks. I just want to see if I can do it with this tile generator. I might not use it, but let's have a just quick look. I've built a lot of my own tools for this package, a lot, but I'm trying not to use them because I feel like you guys will want to have alright, that's what it is. Okay, so what we want to do is there we go, that's the offset. So this is going to give us our brick pattern. Stick that on 0.5. You can see it's staggering these white squares like that. It's quite soft. Why is it so soft? I think it's just my monitor. I won't need these gaps because I'm going to do some funky stuff. So I'm just going to get rid of the gaps now by changing that pattern specific variation, and we're just going to have a square. Right, that's better. Right, you can't see anything now because it's all the same colour, so I'm going to make the colour a bit more random, like that. Right, wicked, cool. I did say wicked, didn't I? I'm sorry about that. It's just I'm just an old dude. So I need to change the. Do I need to change it? Yeah, let's just mess with the amount. So we're working at a slightly different scale. So we make the bricks longer a bit, like that. Right. So then, this is somebody else. Is this what you create? Yeah, kind of. So somebody else did built the heat shield panels for Substance. That's, you can download that for some Substance source. I did modify it though, so a lot of this stuff is quite time consuming. like very time consuming if you start from scratch. So I try not to start from scratch anymore, which is a shame because it's quite fun, but I really don't have time. But the substance source materials, the library there is really good. Um, and once you kind of understand the techniques, you can kind of pull stuff out of the substance source materials and um, repurpose it. So especially a lot of the fine detail work is just really time consuming, and then if you can pull it out of another material, it makes things much quicker. So I'm just kind of giving you an overview of some tricks now. So I think I'm just going to get a slightly different noise. So let's just clone this. Control C and Control V. Right over here. Just change the seed on this and mess with the levels a bit. Like that. Let's just wire that into the uniform color and get another level filter, which is that weird mountain shape, and wire that in. Do I really want to do that? No, I don't. Let's do this instead. Okay, here we go. So what I want to do is use this pattern to distort this flat texture. So I can do that by, there are multiple methods of doing this, but let's just find a vector. So is there one? I'm sure there's one. There's a vector morph, a vector warp, grayscale. Let's just see what this does. So this is expecting a vector map, which is a color map. So there are various methods of doing this. Just want to generate some random colors from this tile generator. So I'm going to use my own tool, but because it's quicker, let's see if I can find it in the massive. No, let's find it. Oh, there he is. I found it. Grey to random color. So this is a very simple tool. So it takes an input, and this is basically a lookup table. So you can do the same sort of thing with a gradient map. It's just this is like a bit quicker, but there's another way of. That's a gradient dynamic. I don't want a gradient dynamic on that one. Yeah, that's confusing. That one. Gradient map. So you can convert. You can also make random colors by making a color gradient. Go and use the gradient again, just so we just put some random values in here. Blue and green and red. And you can see it's building up a random selection of colors for it. So that's equally good, but I use my own tool for that. This gradient mapping technique is quite useful. A lot of people use it for making like wood and stuff. So if you look at some of the wood tutorials, then it will show you how to do that. So let's just try and finish this off really quickly. So I've got my random colors. So basically, what the colors are saying is like this is kind of like a normal map, except we've got two different directions to warp our object in. So you can see that as I increase the intensity, it slides all the textures around like this. And that's basically the start of our brick pattern. So the other thing I want to do is pick up these edges, so I'm going to add an edge detect. So I've got my own tool for this as well, but you can download it. Edge detect grayscale, that one, because this one is nicer than theirs. Right, so that's all the edges of the blocks. And I want to chamfer this, so this is a height map as well, so I'm going to add a distance filter. Like that, and you can see that's chamfering it. So this is maths, like, woo, come back. Whoa. Oh yeah, it's because I've been in a composite package, I can't quite use it in the same way. Getting confused by working different interfaces. So let's change the maximum distance of that. So what this is doing is we've got a white pixel here, and this map is a grayscale thing, so that says that it's defining the distance from the nearest white pixel essentially, but it's not important right now. So let's invert it. Then we can apply it to this by multiplying again. Background, whoops. Apply mode is multiply, and that gives us some bricks, like that. So now we can wire this all together, view the outputs in 3D. I think it's a bit bright. That's nicer. So let's take something from here and use it to drive our that's a bit nicer. Something like that. So anyway, that's pretty interesting. Let's just adjust my levels a bit. And I guess the next stage would be to kind of parameterize this, and so we can take it into Substance Painter, but that's kind of maybe a lesson for another time, so let's just get rid of some of this stuff. Like that. So I can maybe use this as a mask. Yeah, let's try that. So let's get some levels. So just add a bit of mortar in so we can crunch this up a bit. Very crudely, let's just add some flat colour in. That's not it, but a fill. Mist. I think it's getting hidden by this. There we go. So let's pick a random watercolour. Let's see what's going on. So a lot the kind of processes with Substance Designer a lot of people do is they build the thing that's easy to visualize first, which is the height of the object and the bumpiness of it, and then they use the height to kind of drive different qualities of the material. So here what I'm saying is I've got this levels filter and I'm going to use it as a mask, and when it's above a certain value it's going to be white, and when it's below a certain value it's basically black, and I can use that as a mask to merge in this colour over here. So do that. Need to make sure that's a gradient. So I'm converting from a grayscale now to a colour. There we go, that's better. And you can see by using this mask I've now just filled in those areas in my object. Yeah, parameterizing. So let's quickly do that then. So for example, we could parameterize. What can we parameterize? Right, we can parameterize the number of tiles. So let's do that. I'm going to expose it. It's going to be called X amount, and you can see that this tiny blue icon. Yeah, the parameterization does translate to game engines as well, allegedly. I have to say it's a little bit flaky, so, and I don't know why. I don't know if this is where I'm using it, the parameterized objects, because the whole point of this really is that when you load a texture in game, it decompresses it like a real texture, there's a decompression algorithm that goes on, and that decompression takes time. So you could, rather than using compression algorithms, you could use these kind of generation algorithms to kind of build things by hand. So the idea is that it's roughly equivalent. So when you load things up, it unpacks it from an algorithm basically. Whether you've got a normal texture or you've got one of these substance textures, it unpacks it. So in theory, what you gain with that is that you get the option to do a lot of tweaking in Engine as you're building your environment. In practice, I can't get it to work. I know a lot of people have got it to work, but it does work, and then it crashes out, and I can't get it to work. So I tend to just build textures, which I then apply in Unreal, and I generate other tools for proceduralizing things in Unreal. But now I've added those attributes, we've got an attribute window over here, and what you see from is these X and Y's amounts. So let's just demo that a little bit better, because that wasn't really making any sense. So if I make a new graph here, just going to make it empty, because that's, so I can drag this graph, which I've parameterized, and I get this generator. So it's got all my nodes in it, and let's generate some outputs. Right click, create output nodes, off they go, and you can see that this node has got the parameters that I've exposed in it. So now 3D, there's my brick material with the parameters in it for controlling number of bricks. That. And there's obviously more we can do. There's some little errors here where it's not quite picking up the edge detection, so I could probably go and tweak things, but it's pretty good. So we've got infinitely adjustable bricks. Like that. I think that's a good place to end it actually. So I'm in the middle of this nightmare project, and my computer's been crashing like left, right, and centre. So I'm gonna have to. I can't really delay, and I really should go back to work. And I kind of wish I could show you it because it's pretty cool. But I'm under an NDA at the moment, so I can't show you what I'm working on. It's a lot of compositing stuff, a lot of Fusion things. I'm been messing with this new package called Ember, which is so you should go check it out. It's in beta at the moment, so you can get a free demo. And Ember is a let's just find it. Embergen. Let's see. Let's find you a link. So here we go. Embergen. Whoops. So the Constellation Prize. That go and check that bit of software out because it's cool. It's in beta. I won't launch it up now, but you can go and check out the video. You use it for building flame and smoke and explosions and building sprites. Oh, what is that? And it's really cool. It's really good fun. Like fluids normally take a long time, and Embergen makes it all super real time. So that is cool. Real time fluids is cool, and go and support them. Have a look, and maybe we'll talk about it next week. So, yeah, I've got to split now. So hit me up on the Discord. Those of you know where that is, and I'll see you next week. Bye.